Hello, good day. How are you guys? It's You Feeling Out Loud, and here we are for another conversation. So, what's the conversation about today?
Oh, we're going to talk about the big D word, divorce.
Oh my goodness, and what about divorce?
I got married very young.
Yes.
I was a teen.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And by the time 10 years came, or 9 years later, I got divorced because we had literally split. We'd grown differently. Mm-hmm. It's like a tree. Two trees, and we just grew, and the one grew this way and the other one grew that way.
I get you.
And the best thing I did for myself was get divorced.
Okay.
And this was no judgment on my partner, because he needed to be who he needed to be.
Yes.
But I realized that had I stayed there, I wouldn't have achieved or experienced so much, and I had taken the right decision.
I get you.
And a lot of people that come to see me are very caught up in this terrible conundrum of disappointing their family, their church, their relationships, and losing their friendships because they're choosing no longer to experience a journey with their partner. They want to get divorced.
I get you.
What is your take on that?
So the first thing that is most important to me is that I feel that divorce really needs to be about yourself. And I feel like being divorced myself, I feel that what I struggled with a lot before I actually took the step to say, I'm sorry, I can't do this, was not so much about what I wanted. I think I got to the part what I wanted and needed very quickly. What took me years to overcome was the shame and the guilt that I felt, not being able to live up to other people's expectation of what a marriage should be. But what my experience of what a marriage was at that time was so, I almost want to say, abusive that it went completely against what, and I'm not saying that I was looking for the ideal. It was just where I was finding myself with this person was not good for either of us, and I literally felt trapped in being able to just speak my truth and say this is not working.
Yeah, and I see that. And I read an article yesterday about the fact that women tend to be the ones who actually initiate divorce. Very seldom men.
Yeah.
Because women tend to be the ones who are actually conscious of the bigger picture in the dynamic. And they will then one day say, you know what, I've tried this, I've tried that. I want it better for my kids. But I realize that it has to stop now. Now, in my case, I took the decision not for myself, but I took the decision considering my child.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people, a lot of women specifically, they will make that decision if there's someone outside of themselves to look after. But how beautiful would it be is if you have a couple in a relationship, and be this a man or a woman, that if they feel that they're disenfranchised, if they feel that they're not actually in a relationship that they are happy with, and they've tried everything and they've maybe gone for counseling or whatever the case might be, and it's not working, that they have the courage to step out. Because shouldn't you love yourself?
Absolutely, because if you don't love yourself, how do you love the other person?
Exactly. How do you do that?
You don't.
And I know as a young married woman at the beginning, I didn't have very strong reference points on what that meant.
Yes.
I didn't know what a good marriage looked like.
Absolutely.
I never grew up in a space where I was exposed to good marriages.
Yes.
I came from quite a lot of dysfunction.
I get you.
So all I did was, when I got married the first time, is I recreated that dysfunction.
Absolutely, it's patterns.
And I saw the patterns, and it's only now in hindsight when I remarried and I chose with a different set of vision.
Absolutely,
I was more mature, I was grown up, I understood what I really needed. I was able to create with my partner something that is really magical.
I get you completely.
And that was nothing to do with my ex-husband, because he was at the same age as I was, similar age and same experience. He also was simply recreating a pattern from his past.
I get you.
So there's no judgment there.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I just feel like when you realize that what I almost want to say is, with divorce, I feel, and even with marriage, I feel like you need to do what feels right for you. And I feel like if we not go into a marriage so much trying to create the ideal picture of what we believe it needs to be, and we can literally be present in the relationship and feel how we're being engaged, feel how it feels like to have this connection with the other person, that I also feel like that we get to be more honest in that relationship. And I feel like because we have this ideal that we're trying to chase, a lot of times people stay quiet about things that's not working for way too long. And it's almost because there's this pressure of we want the ideal marriage. And the ideal marriage is, I almost want to say, is messy. There needs to be a space where we are able to say, you know what, this is not working, but it's how we deal with that this is not working. Do we just, I almost want to say, throw our arms in the air and say, well, this is not, I give up, and there we go.
Yeah.
And I get that people try, and this is what I want to say about, I love the fact that you get people that really try before they actually make that final call. And not just the first time that we hit a hurdle that we go, sorry, this is not working for me, I'm out of here. But then I also want to say to the other side is I feel that sometimes it's difficult for people to get to that place to accept that when they've been trying, that it really isn't going a different direction.
And then often, and I find this more so than not, there's one who wants to try, and then the other one who doesn't. And it's about acknowledging that a relationship requires two people.
Absolutely.
And you aren't in a relationship if the other person has already checked out.
Absolutely.
And it's a scary thing to get to that point, to make that decision where, you know what, I am alone because I'm alone in the relationship. And therefore, if I'm alone in the relationship, then I might as well be alone, because then I have hope for something better in the future. Versus being stuck in a relationship, what am I there for? And I often find that then I find really dynamic people are saying, yeah, but you know, then what would we do with the house? And we have all this debt, and then the poor children. The reality is that once you've acknowledged and accepted, I am alone in this relationship, and my partner does not want to be with me, suddenly awareness brings in opportunities. And I found people who have suddenly realized, but hold on, actually I don't need that. And actually I'm quite okay with a much smaller place, but where I actually feel I can express the best version of myself. And this sense of freedom comes from that.
Absolutely. And you know what I also realize is that you need to be so okay with your decision that if it means making that decision means that you literally have to start on a clean page. You have to give up the home, give up the car, give up the what. And you can go there with yourself.
And be uncomfortable.
And be uncomfortable, because that's most probably what's going to end up being.
Divorce is messy.
Absolutely. But if you can meet yourself there, oh, my friend, you're going to have such a good experience, and not because the circumstances is complementing, but because of the showing up for yourself, and not putting yourself in a situation where circumstances is dictating what your freedom gets to look like.
Your freedom should be ultimately the most important thing. Absolutely. And you know, I find if you write, I often say to some of my clients that they should write down their journey, because when you get to that point of despair, because divorce isn't easy, it shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't. But
it could be easy.
But
if you're making it for the right reasons.
If you're making it for the right reasons, you write it down, and you then are able to look back and start to see what actually happened and how you got here. Because what happens is that there will be points and times where you doubt it.
Oh, absolutely.
There will be points of fear that your partner has, because they realize they're now missing out, but it may be just an impulse.
Yes.
Not a really meaningful thing.
Absolutely.
And so for you to make sure that this is really what you want, keep record of it.
Absolutely.
Keep record of your feelings. And then down the line, once it's over and you're complete with it, you can release it. Let it go.
Yes.
And then allow yourself to heal before you jump into the very next relationship.
Yeah, I feel like the heal is try and find out who you are through the experience that you went through, and not just become a product of the experience, but actually take the wisdom from the experience.
Yes.
And when you find who you are, your identity, of not being labeled as a divorcee, but more as this is the new version of me after the experience of divorce, then yeah, you can have such a different experience, and I feel like that's what you found the potential of when you did the second time
And
around.
at first it was very isolating because you lose friends, you lose maybe that part of the family because your partner their family is going to obviously support them.
Absolutely, I get
and
you.
the dynamics become awkward because you one day on as a parent, the next weekend you're not.
Yes.
So there's a lot of adaptability. So
comes
you
with
can
it.
either choose to get attached to what you have lost.
Yes.
Or let go of.
Yes.
Or you can start to see as these are opportunities for me to explore a different version of myself.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's not better or worse.
Yes.
It's a different version.
Absolutely. And that's why I feel like
Yeah.
it's not, it's a gift. It's a gift that you give yourself, but you have to have understanding about why you're choosing it, just as you needed to understand who you were in it when it happened.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Take care.
Take care. See you next time.
Bye.